क्या होगा?
50,000 crore
हो गया?
हाँ वायाकॉम है सर. Hello and welcome to News 9. I am Shubhayan Chakravarti, joined by Nikhil Narayan to discuss the third T20I between India and South Africa. After the two drubbings in New Delhi and Cuttack, the action now moves to Vizag. And Nikhil, India are in deep trouble. What has happened to the men in blue? They just can't win against South Africa.
I mean, Shubhayan, I think India is not taking this series in terms of, they don't necessarily want to win this series, but they want to test the quality of their bench.
But have they tested their bench quality?
That is the problem. I think India, have had a few problems in this series, and the most disappointing part for me, is the performance of two of their two batsmen, which is Ruturaj Gaikwad and Shreyas Iyer, and also the spinners not delivering. Yuzvendra Chahal has had a rough two matches. And also, Akshar Patel. Yeah. Akshar Patel's form is concerning because his form has dipped since the IPL, Shubhayan. Since this season's IPL is not taking wickets, it's conceding runs. So, Akshar Patel, Yuzvendra Chahal and Ruturaj Gaikwad and Shreyas Iyer with the bat. So, I think there is a bit of problem for Team India. They need to make some changes. Whether they win this series or not, whether they lose the series today, they need to get the likes of Umran Malik, Arshdeep Singh into the 11. Because this series doesn't matter even if you lose 4-1 or 3-2. Yes, you don't want to lose 5-0 because that has a psychological advantage in the year of the World T20. But it is time now. India must make changes, and Rishabh Pant also as a leader needs to adopt better strategies, needs to use his bowlers better, needs to use his batsmen better. Otherwise, India are in trouble and his own leadership is in trouble.
Absolutely, and when you look at these captaincy stats under Rohit Sharma, India started terrifically the home season. They won all their 11 matches, but under different captains including KL Rahul and Rishabh Pant, they have not won a single match, and that is a big worry because we are talking about testing the bench strength, but at the same time India are also testing their future leaders. Absolutely. After Rohit Sharma, who is the next one, and KL Rahul, Rishabh Pant both have some sort of have failed to make a mark in the leadership role.
Absolutely. This is a very telling stat, Shubhayan, that under Rohit Sharma we've done so well since he started in the New Zealand series, but India has lost every match under every other captain. Yep. Rishabh Pant is under the scanner, especially after his performance, Shubhayan, in the IPL. Not being able to take Delhi to the playoffs, then his performance for India here. He's under the scanner, his antiques on and off the field, strategies, the bowler he uses, batting changes. So, Rishabh Pant needs to deliver as a leader because there's likes of Hardik Pandya, even KL Rahul, who are up in the pecking order.
And question marks are on the openers as well. Ruturaj Gaikwad has failed, as Nikhil has said. Should they make a radical change and bring someone like Venkatesh Iyer, who has that that experience of opening the innings as well?
I mean, if they want to accommodate Iyer, and Iyer is in the scheme of things, Venkatesh Iyer, they need to do that because Venkatesh Iyer, Shubhayan, cannot play as a finisher anymore in this team. We already have Hardik Pandya, we have Dinesh Karthik, we may have Huda in the future. So we don't have Venkatesh Iyer as a, he cannot fit in as a lower order batsman. Yeah. So if you want to play him as an opener. Remember, he excelled for KKR in last season's IPL as an opener. So, Venkatesh Iyer, they may as well try. They need to give Ruturaj Gaikwad a break, I think.
I think so. And despite the performances by the batters, in the first match they played well, but in the second match again the batters dipped. But the spinners in both the matches have been haven't performed well, be it Yuzvendra Chahal, who came after a terrific IPL, or even Akshar Patel, who did bowl well in the second half of IPL for Delhi Capitals. But in these two matches, in 11 overs, 11.1 overs, they have conceded more than 120 runs. That is staggering.
Absolutely. See, India have lost the matches to 3 batsmen.
More than 135 runs, 137 in it.
But you must see, India has lost the matches with only 3 South African batsmen: David Miller, Rassie van der Dussen and Henrik Larsson. So these 3, if you remove their performances, South Africa hasn't been very good. South Africa
But Nikhil, both the pitches, you can see the economy rate they have conceded at 12.27, and both the pitches were assisting the spinners.
Absolutely, and therefore it is a bit worrying that why a bowler of the quality of Yuzvendra Chahal Shubhayan, you know, who was the highest wicket taker in the IPL, who's been brilliant since the last UAE leg, why hasn't he been able to extract purchase from these two helpful wickets? It happens. I mean, he cannot deliver all the time. And while he hasn't delivered, Miller has played him brilliantly, Rassi Vandertassen played him brilliantly, Larsen played him brilliantly. So, you know, the problem is then Akshar Patel. Akshar Patel is not supporting from the other end. He's not holding back, he's not controlling the flow of runs, neither is he picking wickets. And therefore, if also they don't bring variety, we've discussed this before, both of them turn the ball in the same direction. But you're not playing Ravi Bushnoi, who's a googly specialist, which is a big problem.
Or even a case for Deepak Hooda, which we'll discuss later in our show, that why they are not using a utility bowler or batsman who can bat at various positions, who can give you a couple of overs as well, because you know the likes of Hardik Pandya have been expensive so far with the ball, so you can at least give them a shared duty with the ball. But do let us know whether you think India should make any changes to their playing 11 for this series decider. If they lose this one, then South Africa will seal the series, which will be a big one considering India's domination in home surface. But Nikhil, coming back to the Indian team and the discussion, Shreyas Iyer is another batter who has scored runs, but at a very sluggish rate, 120, 130. It just doesn't cut in today's T20 cricket.
Absolutely. Shreyas Iyer's form has been a bit patchy since this season's IPL. Same problem of scoring rate acceleration, which is a bit surprising. With KKR, he's having some problems with the management reportedly, so I can understand what happened. But you know, Shreyas Iyer not delivering for India is a bit surprising, because if you remember the Sri Lanka series before the IPL, he was absolutely belligerent. He was outscoring Surya Kumar Yadav, who was himself in absolutely brilliant form. So Shreyas Iyer's scoring, I mean, his average strike rate I was seeing is around in the mid 120s in the series. So which is a big problem for India. You cannot bat in the even if the pitches are not assisting, 130, 135 Shubhayan is the norm. It adds pressure on the lower order batsmen.
And interestingly, Shreyas Iyer has been striking at close to 140, 150 against the spinners. But when it comes to pacers, his strike rate is below 100.
And the short ball. He has a problem against the short ball. So yes, his problems against pace and the short ball remain. Maybe he also needs a break. Maybe Deepak Hooda can be tried instead.
Absolutely. And after that second match, I was having a discussion with a very senior journalist, and he pointed out one thing which I found very interesting, that Chahal is not finishing his action. That is the follow-up. He's just leaving it up in the air, and maybe it could be due to fatigue, due to playing 14, 15 matches in IPL,
plus the heat.
Plus the heat as well. So Yuzvendra Chahal, it is very, very staggering, because a couple of weeks back he was bowling phenomenally well, picking up wickets, not conceding runs. You can see the impact in the economy section as well, 7.75 for Rajasthan Royals. But when it comes to South Africa series, just after a few days, it's 12.
It could be the law of diminishing margin utility, which is that if you play too much, your averages and your numbers will come down. I won't read too much into, I mean, the technical thing you pointed out, not finishing, could be that he's carrying a minor niggle, or it's too hot.
Or he's tired.
He's tired, or it's fatigue basically. But Chahal is a world-class bowler, and I won't read too much into this. I will give him, 1 or 2 matches, maybe rest him, but he will sort of, come back for the rest of the season in England. And we have a lot of, we are touring the West Indies. We have a lot series against Australia coming up at home before the World T20. I think Chahal is a world-class bowler. I'm not worried about Chahal. I'm worried about Akshar Patel.
Or maybe Chahal just needs an experienced partner like Ravichandran Ashwin, or maybe
Kuldeep Yadav. Where's the Kulcha pair?
And Kuldeep Yadav unfortunately got injured before the start of the series, so unfortunately he misses out on this series. But maybe when Ravichandran Ashwin or Ravindra Jadeja come back into the 11, we'll see a different version of Yuzvendra Chahal. But another case is of Deepak Hooda. Played fantastically for Lucknow Super Giants at number 3, 4, 5. He batted at every position, can give you a handy overs with his off spin. Maybe he could be slotted into the playing 11.
Absolutely. I think Deepak Hooda should come in for Shreyas Iyer, because Deepak Hooda, firstly, he can bat very well in the middle order. He can accelerate in the middle overs. He can accelerate the death. He's a great hitter, as he showed us. He scored tons of 450 runs, 451 runs, strike rate 137 in the IPL, and he was playing the role as a middle order batsman. This was not at his destructive best. So imagine what he will do when he's at his destructive best. Also handy off spinner. So Deepak Hooda is at the peak of his career with the bat. He must be given a chance now.
Absolutely, and Deepak Hooda, and during the New Delhi T20I, during the practice session, Vikram Rathod was making some tweaks to his to his to his batting technique against the shorter delivery. So it remains very interesting whether, if Deepak Hooda comes in, whether he'll bat at number 3 or number 4 in the top half of the batting unit. So another interesting name in that for that Indian playing 11, and let's see whether they make any changes or not. But Nikhil, New Delhi produced a belter of a pitch, more than 212 runs. Cuttack pitch, it was decent, but India failed to utilize it. Whereas Henrik Klaasen just took the game away from them. But Vizag, historically Vizag produces slow, sluggish tracks where run scoring is very difficult, and the average first inning score is 104.
But only 2 matches.
Only 2 matches.
Only 2 matches. So don't read much into that. I mean, I don't think it will be a 104 type of first inning score, but it is not more than a 160 type wicket. It is a 2-pace wicket. It has cracks in it. It is the slower bowlers. So we expect something like a Cuttack type batting performance in the first innings. Spinners should come into play, but the thing is, see, on such pitches, Shubhayan, one batsman becomes the X factor and he can take the match away from either teams. Now, South Africa has those X factors, Miller, Rassie van der Dussen, Klaasen. India also, unfortunately for India, they're not performing or not getting a chance. Dinesh Karthik hasn't got much of an opportunity in the 2 matches.
But when he got in the last match, he finished well.
He finished well. Hardik Pandya, in the first match, yes. Rishabh, India needs that Klaasen sort of role. India needs a David Miller sort of one X factor performance on these difficult pitches. Today, win toss, bat, score 160, defend will be the mantra. But South Africa is chasing brilliantly.
But Temba Bavuma with his toss luck has won both the matches.
Absolutely. I think win the toss, bat first. It will favor the team batting, setting the target, because the wicket might deteriorate as the match goes on.
Absolutely, and Vizag track will produce some sort of challenge for both the teams, be it India and South Africa. And remember, both the teams didn't attend any sort of practice sessions before this match, so they will straight head to the ground for the match, and they will have to face the challenges of that Vizag track. But Nikhil, on a serious note, what changes do you expect in the Indian T20I 11? Because for South Africa it will be a tricky call if both Aiden Markram and Quinton de Kock are fit to go in this match, whether they will drop Reza Hendricks for the opening slot to bring in Quinton de Kock back. But what if Aiden Markram is fit as well? Who will they drop from that 11?
It's a tough one. Pretorius maybe, no.
Pretorius has done his job brilliantly.
No, it's a difficult one for South Africa. You're right. For India, I think they need to make 2 changes, Shubhayan. I think they need to drop Gaikwad. I think they need to drop Shreyas Iyer. They need to fit in Hooda somewhere, and they need to get in Bishnoi somehow. They need a change in the, Akshar Patel and Shreyas. I think 3 changes: Akshar Patel, Shreyas Iyer, Ruturaj Gaikwad. I would get 3 players in and these 3 players out.
Or for Bishnoi, Deepak Hooda, and another one Venkatesh Iyer.
Venkatesh Iyer, yeah.
Venkatesh Iyer, who can give you another couple of overs if needed.
Also, yeah.
If needed. So these are the changes Nikhil is suggesting. Do let us know which players do you think should make into the playing 11. And do let us know whether you see any changes in the South African winning combination that who have won the 2 matches. But Nikhil, coming to Venkatesh Iyer, he didn't have a good IPL at all, and despite being man of the match in the last series which India played, he is not finding a place in the 11.
See, I was firstly surprised that he was a part of the Indian contingent for the series, because he had a terrible IPL. But having selected him, they need to back him. Having selected him, they need to back him at least in this series. So, and now is the time to give him a match. Give him a match where he finds himself the most, he's the most productive, which is opening the innings. He made a name for himself opening the innings for KKR, taking them to the final last season. He cannot fit in as a finisher. He might have done well as a finisher in the 2 or 3 matches he's played for India, but that is not his strength. His strength is as an opener, making use of the fielding restrictions. So you need to fit him with Ishan Kishan at the top of the order. So what if there are 2 left-handers?
That doesn't matter. They both are
now it doesn't matter.
Players.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep, absolutely. Let us know whether you think Venkatesh Iyer should come into the 11, whether he should open or not. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section, and we'll take the best of the comments in our next show as well. Nikhil, before we wrap up, India are 2-0 down in this series. South Africa are on a rollicking start, have had a rollicking start. 7-0 if we concede, if we take their record across formats, starting from the Test series, the ODI clean sweep, and now they are on the verge of doing the 3-0 on the Indian team. Do you think it's a possibility, or will the men in blue bounce back?
I think India will bounce back, but I won't count out a South African sweep, 3-0 sweep today, because they're just brimming with confidence. They are, you know, they're producing these heroes from nowhere. I mean, no one in India knew Klaasen, although he produced a great innings in 2016 against India at the Centurion.
And that was against Yuzvendra Chahal again. He hammered him.
Absolutely. And so, you know, South Africa is producing these heroes. South Africa is one of my favorites to win the World T20 in Australia this season.
That's a big call.
When they were not the favorites to win in the last World
did
T20,
well.
they almost swept Australia. So, you know, South Africa with this team, the X factors. I mean, I'm worried for the other teams. I won't again read much into series scoreline. India should, even if they lose today, yes, I mean 3-1, 4-1, 3-2 is better. 5-0 is a bit of a problem, but we'll discuss that later if it happens.
If it happens, again, do let us know whether you think India will bounce back in this third T20I in Vizag or not, and don't forget to subscribe to News 9 Sports as well. That is where we are bringing you all the updates when it comes to the India versus South Africa series or other sporting action from the world as well. So don't forget to News 9 Sports, your one-stop destination for all things sports. And thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Nikhil.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for watching.